Welcome to the Language Learners Lounge podcast, where we discuss and learn more about the wonderful world of learning foreign languages. The views, opinions, and suggestions mentioned in today's episode are that of the hosts and guests and do not reflect any actual research unless otherwise mentioned or cited. Thank you for listening and enjoy this week's discussion. And welcome everybody to the very first episode of the Language Learners Lounge podcast. We're so happy you guys could join in, and thank you so much for joining in on our first time going. My name is Kyler Lopez.
And I'm Joshua Flood.
And we are your hosts for this podcast. We are meeting remotely pretty often for this podcast, so you may hear some differences in audio quality with us speaking, and even as we continue with this episode, as some of us progressively upgrade equipment and whatnot. Right now, my setup is just a simple USB microphone in my laptop right now.
Yeah, and I'm just going off of my phone right now.
So right now, it's just starting off with whatever works. But we do appreciate you guys tuning in. We do appreciate you guys coming in for the Language Learners Lounge podcast. This has actually been something we've been looking at wanting to start for the last couple of years or so?
Yeah. In the last couple of years, roughly.
Yeah, we've been planning this for longer than I can remember, really. I just know that, there's like a big background kind of story to this. So, for this first episode, I figured we would just give an introduction about ourselves, kind of share, our little linguistical background, what kind of drew us to this idea, what qualifies us, and maybe what doesn't qualify us to, make this podcast, something of the sort like that. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of talking between either one of us, so it can really be either one of us who starts.
Yeah. I think I'll go ahead and start.
Go for it.
Yeah, just gonna kind of start the first language other than English, obviously. We grew up with that language. The first language I ever learned was Spanish, and I started in middle school. I took a small class. So it wasn't a year-round thing, and 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 then basically took it throughout most of my high school year. And yeah, and to continue a little bit, I had some family members who knew Spanish, ish, like including my dad, a brother, a sister, and another brother. So yeah, and I even have a sister-in-law who's Mexican. So that
Gotta
that
love
should
it.
say that.
Gotta love it when you have
Yep.
that kind of blood in your family.
Yep. So yeah, I'd say that Spanish is pretty helpful in my life with that. But in terms of other things I've learned, I took a little bit of a German class in college, and then did a little bit of Japanese, and then I started my mission eh, eh, for the LDS Church, for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as a service mission in Neri, and and, and I kind of, and then of course, like I met Kyler there, and he knew a lot about languages, and eventually he also inspired me to learn way more, including Haitian Creole, French. Um, but I think those are the main two that I can think of. But it did eventually snowball into a whole bunch of other ones, like Russian and Chinese. I wouldn't really say I'm fluent in most of those languages, but I can start a conversation in at least three of them at least, and then maybe a little bit of small talk and some basic phrases. But yeah, that's kind of just been my journey so far. Been and learning through different applications. Been trying to learn as many as I can in the best way I can.
Yeah, yeah. My background is actually somewhat similar. Although I didn't really take any of my language classes that seriously as I should have. Because I know it was freshman year of high school. I did about a semester worth of Spanish, and none of that held on. And then I then went into sophomore year of high school, taking a whole school year worth of French, and some of it stayed. Like some of what stayed was like some of the basics, like the hello, the thank you, I'm sorry, some of those typical easy starter statements within a language. Some of those stayed, but then also a lot of the understanding stayed. But then as I progressively stopped using French, some of that understanding did die down just as quickly as the speaking did. And then, much like Joshua, uh, I then started my mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints, also as a service missionary, which, as Josh described, is where he and I first met, where he and I first connected. And it was round about the beginning of my mission that I started first learning Haitian Creole, which at the time was not easy to learn. Like, by the time I was starting to learn it, there were hardly any resources that I could find to learn a language. This is always one of my favorite stories to tell when it comes to, how I started learning Haitian Creole. And that was more so by the time I started learning, of course, no resources. But then it was like a few minutes after I got set apart as a missionary. That's when Duolingo actually emailed me at one point. And I'm pretty sure I was part of like a big group of people. I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one who was in this kind of email chain. Uh, they were asking if I would be willing to be a beta tester for a Haitian Creole course. So I very quickly and very happily accepted that, started making my way through Haitian Creole. And then it was maybe a couple months in that I was like, let's try freewheeling this. So I still did like the Duolingo courses, some of the other freewheeling language learning, like reading from books, anything like that. So I was still doing some of that, and then just kind of throwing myself out there with the speaking world. And then it wasn't long after that that I started getting asked if I would be willing to pick up more and more languages. And that's when I really started feeling it in myself of I enjoy learning languages. This is fun. Like speaking with people who don't speak my native language, that's a lot of fun for me. And so that progressed into learning it progressed into relearning Spanish and taking that more seriously, as well as French. And then it then also progressed into taking up languages like Portuguese, Swahili, American Sign Language, also Japanese, also some German as well. The list can be extensive as far as the languages I've picked up either from the beginning to the mission to now, and the process is still ongoing. And much like Joshua, some of the languages I can carry a good conversation. Other ones I can just do like small talk. I can like nod and say, yeah, just kind of getting myself through a conversation. But then other ones like the Spanish or the Swahili or the Haitian Creole, those I could just speak all day. Like if you got me in a good conversation in those languages, you might have me all day, really. So that's where my linguistical background comes from. None of us really, I mean, except for Joshua, really, who really took it more seriously than I did in schooling. Because
Yeah.
I know I myself, I did not have really much formal educational training in the world of linguistics. You definitely took
Yeah.
it more seriously than I did.
Yeah, to be fair, a part of the reason why I took it a bit more seriously is partially because like I had a drive to learn it. And I think that's kind of a big thing is that like I think one thing when people take it in like a class in school, a lot of times they just do it to run through the motions. And Yeah, a little bit of a so yeah, a bit of a tangent, but yeah, when you do it in school, sometimes you feel like it's an obligation. I just want to get a good grade and all that stuff. But I think, and one thing to really, I think no matter what way you learn it, try to immerse yourself in it as much as you can, as much as you can, and like ignore the. Sometimes you have, and sometimes that includes like ignoring the rules of English or whatever language is you start out from to just to understand it. Because trust me, if you try to apply English logic to other languages, you're gonna hurt your head.
Oh, geez, yes, 100%. And that's really something that's difficult about a language. I mean, the thing that I've noticed in some people who have that desire to learn a language usually just comes from them hearing a language and being like, I want to learn it. There's so many factors to learning a language that I feel like sometimes we overlook. Because, I mean, everybody knows that, learning the words is a part of it. But it's as you said, we can't completely apply the English sentence structure or the English logic to speaking like Haitian Creole or Japanese. It doesn't completely work that way. I've learned very quickly, and I'm sure you have too, that with every language you learn, their sentence structure is usually different. Sometimes
Yeah,
sometimes it's like adding extra articles, sometimes it's the conjugations, sometimes it's rearranging words. Uh, it
yep,
each sentence structure is really all its own, and each language
yeah.
really just has its own, I guess, cultural background. I guess I can call it. It comes from its own
Yeah.
culture in which the way it's formatted, the way it's been created, just makes sense in that culture. Just makes sense in that kind of style.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. Like the styles of so many different languages is just like so different. It is like kind of both cool yet also a bit of a headache if you don't know what you're doing. And
Yeah.
like yeah, like I I can share a little bit of example. Like normally, like when you learn like when you learn Spanish, like normally you think normally like when we have like the participle, like the ing thing, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They like Spanish has that like estoy durmiendo, like I am sleeping,
Yeah.
and I could say well, I mean, why would I be saying that when I'm awake? But
We're on a
so
podcast. I
yeah,
don't think logic has to matter completely.
yeah,
And
that
yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
Who needs logic? Uh,
I mean, if it's merely just an example, I
uh,
don't think it has to be completely logical unless you're really trying to find an application for it.
yeah. So yeah, where you would say like, "Hey, estoy durmiendo," and then like we would say sleep, and then like if we were to take like the sleeping, like I am sleeping, we could say like sleeping is a good part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
In Spanish, they don't really they don't really have like, they wouldn't really say durmiendo es una cosa importante en sus vidas, no, nuestros vidas.
Yeah, nuestras vidas, yeah.
They would say like, they would say dormir, dormir, like the infinitive
Yeah.
version, which would be to sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a little bit of some, that's kind of a little bit of example of what I was thinking of. But yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's something similar to like when I was first learning Haitian Creole, because a lot of what I didn't realize about Haitian Creole is some of the words are very context based because you get the same word, same spelling for multiple different meanings. Because
Hmm.
for those listening, fun little Haitian Creole lesson, just like how uh, Josh gave a fun little Spanish lesson there. The word li in Haitian Creole, simply spelled Li, has about 4 different meanings. It could mean either, well, more than that, based on how you look at it in a sense. It could mean he, it could mean him, it could mean she, her, it, its, and it even
Read.
means, yeah, it even means for the verb read. So there's a number of different meanings to some of the words. It's just a lot of context based stuff. I mean, even when you're saying something like, we'll go back to the I'm sleeping example that we ended up using here.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Haitian Creole, actively saying it can be like maptomi, but then that same sentence could also mean I will sleep in Haitian Creole. It's just all based on context. Like I've had in my time, it took me a long time to realize that they were speaking future tense. That's um it took me a long time to realize that when I'm talking about like an event far in the future, like I could say, "Un samedi nous gagnons une activité." On Saturday we have an activity, and say it's like Thursday. When I tell them this, I'll get a response from them that's like, "Okay, mat vini," which in my mind, first time learning, I'm like, "Wait, you're coming now? I said this was Thursday. I said this was Saturday, not today." And then it took me a while to recognize, oh wait, they mean I will come, not I am coming. I mean, technically, it could still mean I am coming, but you look at it more
Yeah.
context based on they are coming on the day, not they are coming now. So,
Yeah.
and I feel like
Yeah.
I've noticed something similar with like Arabic or Hindi sometimes as well.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. So
each
yeah, Arabic. Indeed, they do that. So they have something similar to that too. Interesting.
somewhat. I mean, the nice thing about Arabic is that they have a single word for a future tense for a verb that you just add on. So similar to like how we say "I will sleep," Arabic has something similar to that. What Arabic also has that I've noticed Russian and Polish actually kind of share similarly to this is Arabic has two of the same verbs. You just use one of its future or one of its present tense, and then the other of its past tense. I
Hmm.
mean, it's still the same verb. It's just the different tense. And you mentioned Russian here. Russian has something similar, but instead you have perfect and imperfect verbs that can be used. And I've noticed sometimes those words are different as far as like spelling or just overall pronunciation. So,
Ah.
so
Well,
that
that's kind of interesting.
yeah, it is.
Not
And
aware of that.
I still find myself as far as like the speaking form, like speaking wise for Russian, I still find myself having trouble distinguishing the two because I want it to be second nature, but I also want to be able to just immediately recognize what's the perfect, what's the imperfect, which situations do I use what in. And so, we get languages like Russian or Polish that have those. You get languages like Haitian Creole where you don't have to do a conjugation. All you have to do is like add a word or two to determine past or present or future.
Yep.
And then you have languages like French or Spanish or Italian where you're conjugating based on the subject being spoken about.
Yeah. That. Yeah. Eh, I will say with French, the a lot, at least in most of the application when you speak it, it's just as a lot of the conjugations sound very similar to each other.
They
But
do.
then,
They do. And I feel like a
yep.
large part of that is because, you're taught as part of the language rules in French. Some consonants you negate unless there's like an E or an extra vowel that follows after. So,
Yeah.
So
And the only times that they do, however, the only times that the you pronounce it anyway, with some exceptions, is this like a C or an R or an F or an L. Sometimes they'll be sometimes they will normally be pronounced regardless. Though there are,
yeah.
I think there's also like BQK, I think as well though. That though those are very rare to end.
Yeah, those are very rare to end. I barely see any word in French ending with B, K. I mean, you sometimes. Depends the word, depends conjugation. I don't count Q
Unk.
as an ending word because those usually are followed by a UE as part of the ending. So I don't count Q as an ending letter.
Yeah. I mean, like, what about sunk? Like the five.
Okay, you got me there. You got me there. I guess I guess with that one exception. I guess with that one exception. Maybe there are other words in French that I don't know about that end directly with a Q. And
Yeah, I
that's
think sunk is the only one.
and that's very likely a possibility that maybe I might get called out because I forgot a particular word in French that also ends with just a straight up Q. And
Yeah.
goodness gracious, I'll be looking out for that.
Yeah, comment section. Tell 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 us how wrong Kyler is.
I'm I'm now like envisioning every single comment that's coming in like you forgot this word, you forgot this word. Hey, here's this
That
word.
word. Yeah, you forgot. So yeah, here's this word. You you fool.
Oh man, first episode in already. I'm expecting the comment section to like blow up, less at you but more at me. Oh man, and quite honestly, with a podcast like this, something like that is something we're really looking forward to. Like we don't want the discussions to be limited to just what Josh and I talk about. We want it to be open up to everybody. Because I mean, as as we look at future episodes, you know, we have an outline as far as like what we want to talk about each episode. I mean, each one is not in a particular order. Like we don't have it lined up as far as like this episode we want to talk about this or this episode we want to talk about this. It's going to be in a completely random order. But of course, we want our podcast to include your guys' suggestions. We want to be able to take what you
Mhm.
guys say to heart and maybe make that a part of some of our discussions. Maybe it's a brand new discussion. Just whatever the case may be, we want to be able to include you guys as part of the production process of this podcast to be able to bring these ideas in, bring in what your questions, your concerns are in the world of language learning. And, you know, something we're also looking forward to is a little further down the line, being able to bring in other people onto the podcast to maybe discuss some of these topics a little bit further and maybe even just discuss what their language learning experiences are, you know?
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
Yeah, and I think and any type of comment works. Like any of them can be helpful, even if it's a funny joke about how dumb Kyler and I are, or some sort of, or just nitpicking all of our mistakes that we make. Like so, you're supposed to say live instead of live, of you dumb, stupid imbeciles, or something like that. Yeah, even that I will accept.
hey,
And
I'll
you,
accept it too.
but you, uh, but you have to, but it has to be in a British accent, or it won't count. And it's not
uh,
even a British accent.
yeah. I mean, even I mean, we won't be able to audibly hear the comments, but I'm sure if one comes across like that, surely one of us will read it in a British accent. If we,
Yeah, that's what I would do.
yeah, I mean, for sure, when we get an episode that is solely based off of a comment, we're going to cite you guys on it. So it's not like we're going to say, we're going to talk about this and then leave it at that. We're going to say, so this person had this question or this comment or this person ragged at me over this. And so I thought we might discuss this a little bit more. So,
Yeah, and And if we get big enough, maybe we'll even do some Q&A sessions. Like you just want to ask us random things, whether about our language journey or just what what's our favorite drink or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, we want to be able to keep this an open-ended podcast, really. Like,
Yeah, I mean we're not doing a Q&A right now, so
yeah, we're
so if you're gonna ask us some random questions, can't we guarantee that you'll get a response?
yeah, we can't guarantee any responses. Plus, I don't have live commenting happening right now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you do have any questions for us, go ahead and toss it in. Like, we'll gather up all questions and we'll hold them for like any future episode where we do decide let's do a Q&A, or these are questions we want to bring to our special guest here. All things like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the other thing that we've been looking at for this podcast also is we don't want it to be just based around, foreign languages. Like, we know that learning languages is universal. There's going to be people who are learning English, uh, learning from English into Spanish, or even vice versa, where they're learning from Spanish into English. We want to be able to cover all different kinds of walks of life. Now, unfortunately, the primary language of this podcast is going to be English, except for some of the spoken examples in different languages that we may toss out here and there. But
Yeah.
primarily, the discussions are going to be in English. So that's kind of the main basis, really, is we want to keep it centralized around the world of language learning, but then on top of that, we want to be able to incorporate not just learning from English into another language, but learning from another language into English. We want to be able to incorporate all those different walks of life in the world of language learning.
Hmm.
I mean, because
Yeah.
especially since as you and I have been able to teach Haitians English, English is a whacked up language.
Yeah, you want to know how many verb conjugations that you have to just remember?
Well, I mean, it's not only that. I mean,
Well, not conjugations, pronunciations.
yeah, I was about to say like the
Yeah, there's other things too, but like just probably
yeah, it's like
yeah,
the
like our
amount of
vowels and diphthongs have different symbols.
yeah, it's like the amount of classes that we spent for that English class just solely focused on like the pronunciations and phonics of English is just whacked up for what English actually is. Like, we don't really think about it really all that much because it's our native language. We don't really think about what it takes to learn
Yeah,
English
which is
until we start like dumbing ourselves down to the point where it's like this is weird. Like, we really pronounce it like this, and then when we're asked, why do we pronounce it like this when this word is pronounced like this, spelled with some of the same letters? And a lot of what we do is just straight up say, gosh, I have no idea.
eh. Yeah. And we don't and it's not like French where we have like a whole bunch of different and like diacritics or whatever, like marks, accent marks to tell us like, oh, well, here's the thing. You gotta plot this A that you see right here. Instead of saying A, you say ah. But in this other case, you say A, and like all this other stuff. And it's like we only we don't have any of those accent marks, so that's definitely
We
like
Yeah, we
one
don't, and
thing.
that's what makes it so hard is, all the other languages rely on the accent marks to show the different pronunciations. Like, I'll
Yeah.
I'll take this as an example from when I was learning Polish. It took me a while to recognize that um, just a standard O was just an O sound. But then
Hmm.
the moment you add an accent mark on top of the O, it doesn't become an O sound, it becomes an U sound. And
Hmm.
so that was something that I was like, paying attention to these accent marks really are helping me. And then still staying on Polish, the C's, you have just straight up C, which becomes a S sound. And then
So, yeah.
you'll have a C with the accent mark, which changes it to a ch sound.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's something that English doesn't have. We don't have the accent marks to determine different pronunciations. We just, we're
And if
literally,
we do, it's borrowed words.
if we do, it's like the
Sorry.
side. No, no, I mean, I agree. It's like if we do have accent marks, it's like very faint, like almost the size of an atom, so barely noticeable, really.
Yeah, and a lot of that's more from borrowed words, like naive, for
Mm-hmm.
example.
Yeah, and goodness gracious, does English have a lot of borrowed words? Like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, like we were talking about French, like that. A lot of English is a Germanic language, yet it has a lot of parallels with French and other Romance languages.
it really does. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah,
I mean, I still remember for the longest time learning French, just trying to like. So the funniest, I'm kind of going off the rails of what my original thought process was as I'm saying this, but I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but as I start to use words that other people know as English, but my brain recognizes it as a different language, that language's
hmm,
accent will naturally come out. So like,
yeah.
so like I can no
I've
longer,
had a few of those.
yeah. So like I can no longer call a reservoir. You heard it there. Like my brain
Yeah,
recognizes
I
it.
heard it.
Yeah, like my brain recognizes it as a French word. Time to absolutely hate myself as I Americanize this, but you know,
Yeah,
people
I
people know
yeah
it
I
as,
have.
yeah, it's like people know it as like a reservoir, but naturally because my brain knows that as a French word, I'm gonna go into saying it as reservoir.
Yeah.
Like with
Eh,
the natural French R's, the natural French pronunciations, everything.
Yeah, kind of. I have not maybe not to the degree that you have, but like I've definitely had some of those before. Like I say crepe and for crepe,
Yeah,
and then I say like croissant versus versus croissant.
yeah,
So- And it's like, yeah, that you get those words, especially when you kind of low key actually kind of like how it sounds better.
and
Like
and
at least,
honestly, most
and
times like
like in some
that,
cases, it's just like you've just exposed yourself.
yeah, and honestly, with most cases like that, when you just say it with its natural accent, it just sounds right. Like, I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
get that, like, but like with croissant, that just sounds right to say it like that.
Yeah, croissant.
Now I could care less
Yeah,
if you
way
Americanize it
better.
and end up saying it like croissant. Like, I could care less if you do it like that.
Croissant,
But I myself,
croissant.
it took me a while to process what you said and the tone that you used. I was so focused on my tangent.
Sorry, it's I get. Today I want a croissant. Croissant.
These kind of side rails are also another thing that I'm pretty sure not only we will get a kick out of, but I'm pretty sure you listeners will get a kick out of with this podcast.
That or they'll get really annoyed, but hopefully they'll take a kick out of it.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll probably. I'm pretty sure like most of the confusion is probably just gonna come from like this random silence and all that of like what just happened, all of
Yeah.
that.
Hmm. Yeah. Right.
You give me a moment. For a while there, I almost thought that uh, I'm trying to remember like what the heck I was talking about earlier. It was I know that like the croissant was part of it, but for some reason I can't remember what the whole thing was.
I think we were talking about like how croissant, how like sometimes you can even Americanize it. You can Americanize it into say sometimes you say croissant instead of croissant.
That's right. Yes, that's what it was. That's what it was. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like getting back to the subject and before, the jokes came out. Yeah, like I could care less
Yeah.
if somebody like Americanized how you say a different like word that we recognize as a different language. But
Yeah.
uh, you know, when it comes to, general pronunciation, when you say it with the natural accent, it just comes out naturally.
Mm-hmm. Croissant.
So that's really where it comes down to with me is when I hear a word and my brain recognizes that it's naturally not English, that accent's just going to naturally come out. There've there's been other times when that's happened with other languages outside of like French. So like sometimes I'll be in like a Mexican themed restaurant and quesadillas will come around, or even like tacos or burritos, things like that. And as you just heard,
Mm-hmm.
I will just naturally roll my R's.
Yeah, I especially when I was learning Spanish throughout high school, I would even almost roll my R's when I was saying American words,
Mm-hmm.
English words. It would be like race car or something like that. It would be like, oh,
Yeah.
oh darn, I'm stuck on rolling my R's.
Now I can't say I've had that kind of issue when it came to learning a language, but I know that as far as
Yeah.
like what it was like learning, what is naturally from a different language that English then adopted, it was like it's one of those, it just naturally comes out. I remember my family giving me absolute grief at one point because we're visiting a pet store and we're looking at all the different dog breeds, and there was there were two specific ones where my brain
Mm-hmm.
instantly recognized it's not an English name for the dog breed, and that accent just came out. So like a dachshund, there's that,
Mm-hmm. Dachshund. Yeah.
and then the other one is a Shih Tzu. That's the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like my brain immediately recognized, oh, German. Let's let the German accent slip out here.
Yep.
And then that wasn't the first one. The Dachshund was not the first one. The first one was a Shih Tzu. That was the first one, because
Yeah.
it's like we're trying to name off all the dog breeds, and I'm like, hey, look, this one's a Shih Tzu, and my brother was the first one to catch it, and he's like, dude, say that again, but slowly. And I say it again, and it comes out the same way, Shih Tzu, and they're like, are you having a stroke? And I'm like, no, I'm saying the dog breed. I'm saying the name of the dog breed. Like,
To be fair, I actually think the Japanese name is actually more appropriate. It sounds better. The Japanese pronunciation sounds way better because it sounds like it sounds when you say it in English, it sounds like you're saying the S word.
yeah, right, right. And so they're giving me grief about that. And then I don't remember if it was my brother or someone else in my family. They point to the dachshund uh, name, and they're like, all right, let's try it. Let's try it this way. What is this? And then I look at them, I'm like, that's a dachshund. And they're like, I caught that. I caught that. And I'm like, the accent showed through, didn't it? And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what happens.
that's what happened. it's
Yep.
it's one of those. I like it that it naturally happens, but boy, do I
Hmm.
get so much grief out of it.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
I mean, Nowadays, I could care less. Give me grief. The joys of being a linguist, you know? Give me grief. If y'all in the comment section want to have another thing to make fun of me here, make fun of that as well. Not just how many words
Yeah.
did I miss in French that end with a straight Q. All right.
Yep. Yeah, I can. And hey, you can make fun of me for that too, because sometimes that might happen to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have those moments in this podcast where, y'all are just gonna make fun of us because of something we said in a podcast episode, and we're here for it. Have some fun with us, why don't you?
Yep. And sometimes you have to just kick us in the shin,
Yeah,
metaphorically.
metaphorically. Yeah, I was about to say, with us meeting virtually for this podcast, it's kind of a little difficult for us to actually kick each other in the shin. So,
That is true.
I mean, my desk is also in front of me, so if I really wanted to like actually do it, with the exception of hearing the bunch of clattering, I really could just like hit my shin like
Yeah.
I just did to my desk and just say, "All right, you kicked me,"
Yep.
which that's
Yeah.
probably going to leave an interesting sound on the podcast. I'm pretty sure as I'm going to edit this episode, I'm going to listen to this and I'm going to be like, "Wow, so that's how hard I hit my shin on the desk. It didn't feel that way."
Yeah. It did. I mean, it didn't sound very hard to me, to be honest.
Well, that gives me some hope. That gives me some promise about how strong my mic is. As long because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure my voice is coming in perfectly fine.
Yeah, your voice is coming in fine.
Sweet. I'll take that.
Hmm. Yeah. And hopefully next time, I'm currently just on my bed in my room with my grandma right now. I hope that when I actually head up to school in about a week, I'm gonna I'm gonna actually get a desk that and hopefully I don't know if I'll get my USB microphone. I might have to wait on that, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we are an ever growing podcast. We're slowly making upgrades, slowly adjusting to everything. The things I had were really just things I had automatically from mission days. So it's just reduce, reuse, recycle. How does the statement go?
Yeah.
Adapt, improvise, overcome, or like improvise, like adapt, improvise, overcome. I forget the order for that,
Hmm.
but it's like
Yeah.
that, you know.
Hmm.
So now,
Yeah, I get it.
as we come full circle back to how we plan to focus this podcast a little bit more, you know, we, Josh and I, we've had our own experiences learning foreign languages, and most of it has not been through a textbook or classroom setting, with the exception of Josh and his Spanish. Most
Yep.
most of our language learning has happened like in the field, on the fly, kind of throwing ourselves into the fire. And while we don't recommend that for everybody, every language learning
Mm.
experience does require some sort of leap of faith, some sort of step into the fire of sorts. And so, our hope with this podcast is that as we start to make more episodes focused on different aspects of the world of language learning, that we will hopefully be able to provide some insights from what we discuss, maybe some of the tangents we go on, that will hopefully help you guys, you know, advance in your language studies a little bit more. Maybe provide you guys with some insights on like, I should try this when it comes to like, learning a language, applying it, knowing it, all of that. And, the kind of languages we'll be touching up on are very expansive, from
Yep.
English to Spanish to French, Italian, Russian, German, even some of the more extinct languages, which I doubt we're going to get into those, but, we never
Yeah.
know. There could be a possibility.
Who knows? Who knows? We could all be here. We could both be here speaking Aramaic for all we know.
We could. We could. And honestly, one of these days that wouldn't surprise me. knowing
Yep.
knowing the kind of background you and I have, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yep. 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 Yeah, we'll be speaking the language of Jesus. Literally.
Yeah. Start bringing the Tower of Babel back all over again. Reset everybody's language comprehension. I'm not sure we want to go
Yep.
completely that far, but you know, the modern
Yeah.
day thought of that is a
Yeah, that
little
would,
entertaining. You have to admit.
yeah, it does. We have to relearn every language all over again.
And so that's really what this podcast is going to be about, is just me and Josh and maybe an extra person based on the episode, just discussing the world of language learning. Some episodes may be pointed towards something more specific, maybe something about a language, maybe a specific study strategy, something about the world of language learning. We want to be able to allow you guys to use this podcast to advance in your own language abilities, but also challenge us even. Like, we want you guys to not only learn from us, but we want you guys to challenge us. So you can do that through the comments. If you, I'll say this before the outro, Will. If you want to, recommend a specific discussion topic for us, if you have like a question you want us to discuss, or if you have like a specific question you want us to answer like right then on the spot, we're starting to get social media profiles booted up right now. There's only an Instagram, which only has a couple posts, and occasionally we'll post highlights as well, like highlight reels of something notable, something hilarious that may have happened in it. Sorry, my cat sneezed on me, and I don't usually know what to think about that, but we'll post like highlight reels. We'll post like highlight reels of things that happen on these podcasts and all that. Just to try to keep things lively, just to try to keep things entertaining in the social media platform as well. And then, on those platforms, feel free to DM us. Feel free to send us a message with those questions, those topic ideas, those slight little roasts, if you will. Like, we don't want to limit it to just the comment section of... Yeah. We don't want to limit it to just the comment section of whichever platform you're listening to our podcast on. We want to be able to branch it out to more than just that. And so, you have our social media platforms you can reach us through. You can also reach us through our email, which is not Language Learners Lounge, funny enough. Apparently somebody else had taken that. So,
yeah.
so the title that we had for our email is loungeoflanguagelearning@gmail.com. Because apparently somebody else had the idea of making a Language Learners Lounge, but never fully committed. So, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be more committed than they ever could.
We will be. And for sure, future episodes hopefully will prove that.
Yeah.
And so, with that, we do thank you guys for hopping on to this podcast. It's about time that we wrap up this first episode, which I feel like, introductions, and, like side tangents discussing, what our experiences have been kind of as a whole in the world of language learning has been honestly pretty amazing for a first episode.
Yep.
Like,
we even got a few jabs at each other.
Oh, yeah. Which, is still going to happen. The kind of dynamic we had as missionaries, that's never going to leave, and that's only going to carry on more and more as this podcast goes on. So, for sure, we're going to jab at each other a little more, and maybe you guys might jab at us more than we will jab at each other. But, this is going to be an open experience podcast, It's going to be an open platform, open to anything that happens. I mean, of course, we still got to filter out some things here and there, but, generally, very open.
Yep.
And so, with that, we thank you guys for listening. We thank you guys for joining in. And, you know, we can't wait to have you guys tune in on our future episodes. We will see you guys next time.
Yep. Later.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you have a suggestion for what you want us to discuss, please leave us a message either through our email or through social media. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you sit with us again in the Language Learners Lounge.